And it's crazy because 20 something years later, I'm working for Secretary Clinton, and then their daughter's working at the White House for the first South Asian and Black woman vice president. So it just goes to show that, anything is possible in this country. The American dream exists. I'm the living proof of that. But that has those values of sacrifice, and what my parents did for me has always been with me.
Hi, welcome to the Capital Coffee Connection podcast. I'm Liz, and today I'm speaking with Opal. And one of the things that I am so excited is to highlight and feature young leaders, people who have been doing incredible work, making a dent in the world, and doing something that they're passionate about. And Opal is young, beautiful, and has been doing incredible work. And so I want to say thank you, because I believe that the more we share leaders' stories, and leaders we sometimes think of as somebody that's old or somebody that's been doing something, but there's young leaders, and you are one of them. And so thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Liz. I love what you're doing, and you're just bringing so much heart and humanity to telling people's stories. And I told you this before, I always say no to podcasts since I'm so behind the scenes, and I feel like that's my role. But as I said, no one can say no to you because you bring so much love and grace to this. So I'm so excited to talk to you.
Well, thank you. And what I'm excited is, look, I have been meeting with leaders, Republicans and Democrats, because what I believe is, like, if we can get to know our leaders for their heart and humanity, then we can also understand that we can have different opinions and different ways, but we have so many of the same values. And I know that you've been working in the political world, and you have supported, like you said, in the background, so many and incredible people. And so I want to talk a little bit about what you do and what you've done. And could you give us an overall, you graduated college, and then all of a sudden you are working with some of the most incredibly powerful and interesting women in the world. How did that happen? And what did that feel like? You were just this young woman, and we're going to talk about your background, but you went from college to being in the most incredible place that many people dream to be.
No, I feel very fortunate and very, very lucky. But I think the feeling is I would pinch myself if you asked me when I was in college or 10 years ago, did I think this would be my life or my career? Say no, I couldn't even believe it since it's so far out of reach for me. I didn't see people looked like me. I didn't have family in this space. I didn't know anyone in this space. So the feeling is, I just feel so grateful that I've been able to do that. I've been able to meet incredible people, and that I hope that I played a tiny part in making people's lives better. And that's what was always drawn to me. I know we say I work in politics, but I like to say I work in public service. It's really just giving myself to make the world better.
Yeah. And let's go back to, before we reveal a little bit more, let's go back to growing up. What was life like when you were a little kid?
So, yes, my parents immigrated from India here, and my mom told me this story that her plan, she was a doctor in India, and she was pregnant with me on the plane. And she said when she landed at JFK, she knew she had to stay in this country to give me better opportunities, because her whole plan was that I would be born here, and then she would go back to India with me and give me basically dual citizenship. But she knew getting off that plane, she had to stay here for me. And it's crazy because 20 something years later, I'm working for Secretary Clinton, and then their daughter's working at the White House for the first South Asian and Black woman vice president. So it just goes to show that, anything is possible in this country. The American dream exists. I'm the living proof of that. But that has those values of sacrifice, and what my parents did for me has always been with me.
And you grew up speaking 2 languages?
Yeah, we learned at home Gujarati, which is a Indian dialect. And then obviously living here, I learned English. Mm-hmm.
And did you have, when you were in school, did you have a teacher or a mentor, that somebody that saw you and gave you strength as a young person to believe in yourself?
It was being in this country, I always felt so out of place. I grew up in Queens. Growing up in Queens, New York was great. It was so diverse. But going to school, I tell this story. We were going to first grade into a new school. And in one of the things of what you need to bring, it said you have to have elbow grease. My mom and I went to multiple stores being we need to find elbow grease. And I remember the next day being so embarrassed, oh my gosh, we didn't find this. And the teacher's it's not a thing you buy. It's like a saying. And I felt so out of place for so many years. And I didn't see people who looked like me, right? I didn't see leaders represented like me. I would watch TV. I didn't see anyone who looked like me. So it was really hard. But I think when I was really in high school, I realized I love helping people. And there was all these leadership activities and retreats we did that I really found my love of service. And that kind of really helped me. And I've had really great teachers along the way who saw that and instilled that in me.
And do you know what elbow grease is now?
Literally.
And you've had to use a lot of it to get where you are.
I've never thought about that way, but yes, I have.
Yeah. And how did you get a job working for Secretary Clinton? Like that wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to get this job and, work at a fast food restaurant or work in a design studio, which is nothing wrong with, but like you went to work for somebody that was doing incredible things and running around the world.
Yeah.
And there was you. How did it happen?
And if you had asked me when I was in school, I would never thought I'd work in the political space ever. It was just so far out of reach. I always wanted to be a broadcast journalist. So I went to school for communications. And just like Oprah, I thought I'd have the Opal show one day. And I wanted to help people by telling their stories. I was like, I'm going to give a voice to people. And that's what I was going to do. I was interning at MSNBC at the time. And one of the producers was like, you should apply for a White House internship. I was like, I've never voted. We're not political. Like, I'm not an Ivy League student. I'm not one of those people who gets a White House internship. But I applied 11:59 p.m. The application was due at midnight. I'm like, great, my application's sent in. A few weeks later, I get an email saying, oh, you have an interview. I was like, great, cannot believe I got an interview. And then months later, they're like, fill out these security forms. It doesn't mean you've gotten the internship, but we just do it for people we think that there may be a spot. Great. Anyways, I don't hear back. I'm like, okay, I didn't get it, but how exciting that I had to fill out the security forms. A month later, I get an email, you've been waitlisted. Cannot believe I got waitlisted for the White House internship. And at this point, I'm about to start my senior year of college. I was an intern at Nightly News at the time, which was the #1 news show. It's going to be a third-year RA. Kind of had my senior year figured out. And it was the first week of September, I get an email saying, someone dropped out. You've been accepted to the White House internship program. You need to decide in 2 days and move to DC in a week. And I remember being like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I'm accepted to the White House internship program. It was under President Obama. And I knew I had to say yes because I thought about my parents and how they immigrated to this country and what it would mean for them to know that their daughter's interning at the White House. So yeah, my life changed from that internship. That really changed my whole life and my career. And from that internship, I came back to Pace. I graduated. And instead of I was applying for jobs, the White House, but everyone there was like, we only have a year and a half left. You should work on a campaign. I was like, I don't know anyone. How do you even do that? So there's something called Advance, which is basically like traveling event planners.
So you worked for Advance for the campaign?
Yeah. Okay. So there was once something called Advance Camp that the campaign hosted. I went to it. Guess I made a good impression. They're like, okay, can you do this trip? And I was like, great, can't believe I got to do an advanced trip. And it was from one trip, got another trip. And soon I was full-time advance on the campaign. And I was 20, had just graduated college. I was like, I can't believe I get to do this. And that's kind of how I started my career.
That's amazing. So let me ask you this. You've been doing this. You worked for Secretary Clinton, then you worked for the vice president, and two incredible women. You don't have to agree with them politically, but to see two women get to this place, what did it mean to work for two women that were incredibly powerful, but also humans? Because sometimes I think one of the pieces for me on this podcast is humanizing our leaders, humanizing yourself, making people realize, like you said, a young woman who is of Indian descent or some other can look at you and say, wow, I could work at the White House when I'm 30. That's a big deal. But what did it mean to work for these women who had broken so many barriers to become Secretary of State and to become, in Hillary Clinton's case, the first woman to be nominated by a party for president, and for the vice president to become this first woman of color and a Southeast Asian background? What did it mean to see these women as people, not stories, but just as people?
No, so often I would have friends, who just know these two women as people they saw on TV,
Yeah.
right? And I think also women have a tougher time in the public space as well. They'd be like, oh, I hear, Secretary Clinton's mean from like what I've seen, or I hear VP Harris is super tough. And I'd have to be like, oh my goodness, like these are real human beings. And I tell them, I was like, you guys know me, right? Do you think I would work for someone who is super mean or who's not a good boss? And I would always look at them as my boss. Yes, they're these two incredible figures in history, but they were my boss. And getting to see them as people and building that relationship and trust is something I will never take for granted. I say I spent most time with VP Harris these past 4 years than my own family, right? And I think there's something so beautiful and genuine, right? When you are in the trenches together with both these women in, some of the most public moments, but also the private moments. And I think why I feel so passionate about this is because I think the world and people will always have perceptions about them. And I think for anyone in the spotlight, right? But when you get to see someone and know someone, for them, I'm very protective of like, I always wanted them to succeed because I knew their heart was to do good. Does that make sense?
It's beautiful. Yeah, I believe it. Let me ask you this. What is the best advice you've received in life and maybe bad, worst advice?
The best advice, I have two. One's from Secretary Clinton, and it was practice the discipline of gratitude. And I tell this to every single person I know. Here's someone, who lost the 2016 election, right? And she could have just gone home, be upset, and just never do anything else. And the reason she said she would get out of bed every day is because practicing the discipline of gratitude. I know we all have our own struggles, right? Whether it's with family or with work or friends, we all have the things we go through. And it's like every day, I have to do this too. Like losing 2 elections is heartbreaking in a country I love deeply so much that I have a gratitude journal, right? It's like she says, so every night they'll say, what are 3 good things that happened to me today? And it could be the worst day in the world. But I'm like, I have a bed to sleep in. I know when my next meal is going to be. And I know someone out there in the world loves me. And being able to practice that is the reason I can keep doing what I'm doing. Because as you know, there's so much outside noise. There's so many things we cannot control in the world. And it's hard and it's heartbreaking. So that was one of the best advice I've gotten. And then from VP Harris, her mom told her this: don't let anyone tell you who you are. You show them who you are. And I think people will have judgments about you. They think they will know things. They will try to put you in a box. And you tell them who you are and you say what you're proud of and you so know your beliefs and values. Don't let anyone categorize you or make you think this way. And that's really helped instill like a sense of self in me. Gosh, worst advice. I've been told a lot of times, and I think people have meant well, your dreams are too big, be more realistic. And that to me has motivated me because it's like, oh, I know I have to prove these people wrong. But I think people genuinely do believe that, right? Like, why should you reach for the stars? Why should you try to do something different? Be a little more realistic. And I'm like, no, we can do anything. And everyone should know that.
Gosh, if anybody's listening to this, whether they are in their 20s, 30s, or above, or 70s or 80s, dream big. Every day, like, yes, you should practice gratitude, but every day, think about what your dreams are and figure out that you can go out and achieve something. But I always say, like, if your goal is only this high, you're going to jump this high. If your goal is this high, try to jump that. And sometimes you're going to outjump what you believe or outdo what you can believe.
And it's not easy, but you keep at it, right? And if you love it so much, you believe in yourself, you will get there. It will take time. It can take years, but that's okay because you're doing something you believe in.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to ask you some rapid questions. And I know a little bit about you, but I still love to hear your thoughts. And this is just to get to know Opal. And what I love about you, Opal, is like you took care of a lot of other people. You've done a lot of work, but you have a very strong character and you know what you like. So on these, I'm going to get to know a little bit more about who you are. Favorite sound?
I love the sound of water.
Okay. Favorite color?
I love pink.
Pink? Your lipstick is not pink, so
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. I do my signature red lip, but I love pink.
Okay. Favorite scent or smell?
I love lavender.
Me too. Me too. Favorite word?
Dream big. It's 2 words. So,
2 words. That's okay. You're young. You get to
yeah,
have 2 words.
yay. Okay.
Dream big. I like that. And who has been your biggest cheerleader?
You know what? It would be my grandma Ba. She passed away almost 10 years ago now. But growing up, she always knew I could do and be anything. And I think of her so often because I wish she was there when I worked for Secretary Clinton. And, I got to go to India with Secretary Clinton. I wish she was there knowing that I worked for Vice President Harris and that I was the first South Asian and Black woman vice president. To see that because she had such a belief in me and she loved me so much because I was the first granddaughter in our family. So that she is my biggest cheerleader. And even though she's not with me, I have these gold bangles that I wear every day. I never take them off. So throughout all these moments, she left these for me. So
that's beautiful.
That is who is my biggest cheerleader.
I love that. I'm sure she's still watching you. What is your favorite meal?
Oh, gosh, I love food. You know what? I'm a New Yorker. I love a good slice of New York pizza.
Okay. And what would you drink with that? What's your favorite drink?
Gosh. I'm trying not to, I would say sparkling water.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, what is my favorite drink?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And then what would you say is your favorite exercise? Do you have time to exercise?
I've started in my new phase of life. I try to do 10,000 steps a day. That is my new thing. And then I used to love boxing. So I want to kind of go back into boxing.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you're working out, what kind of music do you listen to?
Oh, I'm such a big Swiftie. So I listen to all Taylor Swift all the time, even when I'm working out. So.
Okay. If you could watch one TV show all day long, binge watch, what would it be?
The Mindy Project by Mindy Kaling.
Okay. Wonder why. Have you met her before?
Yes. And she's wonderful and incredible. And she's one of the people who I've always wanted to meet. And then when I met her, it's like she was better than you can ever imagine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She's one of the first people who I saw looked like me on TV.
Exactly.
Changed the game.
And funny and smart and powerful. Mm-hmm. And we need people to look up and see people like themselves. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay. Do you have a book that you've read recently that's a really special book or a book that you grew up reading?
I've been reading so much lately, but I read fun, like rom-com books. I just finished Daisy Jones and the Six. There's a TV show on Amazon Prime, but I read the book and it's great.
Okay, good. And what is your favorite household chore?
I like to do laundry because I love clean clothes.
And what would you say is Opal's superpower?
I feel like I can make people feel seen and heard.
Beautiful. I know you travel a lot since you stopped working with, in the world of politics and you're on a little bit of a political break and doing your thing. Where if tomorrow you could go anywhere in the world, would that be?
I want to go to the Maldives. Never been.
Okay.
On a bucket list.
Okay. And then this is my last question. And you've sort of spoken about it throughout this, but what does joy mean to you? What brings you joy? And if you feel joy, how do you share that joy with others?
It's a great question. I think for me, it's finding joy in the ordinary things. I think I'm so lucky that I've been able to be part of such big moments for our world, the convention or debates, and there's been so much joy and happiness there. But for me, it's like the ordinary small moments of this. This brings me joy, getting to have such a genuine conversation with you. It's like going for a hike at Fryman Canyon. That brings me joy. It's being with my nieces and nephews and seeing them grow and play and hear them call me Opal Auntie. I think that's where I really find joy lately. And just the ordinary everyday things. And sharing joy for me, I think just reaching out to people and hearing from them and telling them what has brought in them joy, right? And being able to share, well, this is what brought me joy. So yeah, I think that is really where joy is in my life.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you. I just can't believe how much you have accomplished in 32 years. It's amazing. And what I also think is that as you've done it, you've also looked around and said, who can I bring along with me? Because that's who you are. And I just hope that whatever you end up doing, that you continue to be that breath of fresh air for others. And I can imagine that for both Secretary Clinton and Vice President Harris and so many that have been blessed to work with you, that smile and your positive energy has actually, and your joy has been shared with many, because that's just who you are. So I just want to say thank you and keep doing it. And I'm excited to see what you're going to be doing for many years to come. But I thank you because you are a public servant and you have done for our country many important things. And I know you will continue. And I know that I'm going to just say this. I just imagine your parents being so proud of their daughter, but your grandmother looking down and just thinking, this is what I struggled for. And your parents, this is what we gave up so much for, which is for our Opal, Auntie Opal now, but Opal to really have a beautiful life. And thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on and continue to bring hope and humanity to all of us. We need this now more than ever.
More than ever. Thank you. I'm going to give you a hug.
Oh, yeah.
It's our hug moment. We can't get too high because then it's not in the screen. Okay, go down. Hi, it's Liz. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Capital Coffee Connection podcast. Do yourself a favor. Turn off the doom scroll. Shut down the noise. And remember, there's still a lot of good stuff out there. People are kind and joy is real. Don't miss it. Share this episode with somebody who could use a reminder. Have a beautiful week. And don't forget to subscribe to the Capital Coffee Connection podcast right now. Ciao.